Hey, before I get started, I want to share something that really matters to me. The stories and ideas you'll hear on Building the Inner You can be relatable and encouraging, but they're only a starting point. Mental and emotional health are serious, and while inspiration can spark change, it's often not enough on its own. If something here hits close to home, I encourage you to take the next step with a licensed mental health therapist or reaching out to a healthy church community where you feel safe, supported, and known. Growth and healing are not meant to be done alone. Thanks. Stephanie, how are you today?
I'm so good, Michael.
Good, good. It's such a blessing to have you today. You definitely was one of those extraordinary leaders that I could easily remember as I was managing my accounts and talking to many customers. So I do get a chance to meet some extraordinary people. And I sent you that. Sometimes I feel like it's a corny video just saying, hey, I know you have an extraordinary story. So I sent that out, and I'm so glad that you were open to share because, again, my passion is just to help somebody. While everyone's scrolling through social media, hopefully it's something that's said just to put a little extra wind in their sail and help them keep pressing forward no matter what happens. So we get a chance today to spend time with the extraordinary Stephanie Murray. So Stephanie, don't know the best place to start, but how have things been going for you?
Michael, things have been going really well. And your video that you sent me was not corny or cheesy. I was thrilled to see that you're on a podcast because when I was working with you, when you were our account manager for Brightside Health and you were at LinkedIn, I felt like every introduction with you was like a podcast. You were sincerely there to understand us and not just as like a client, but as people. And so when you said you were doing this, I was like, that's such a natural next step for you. It was like, I want to be on this journey with you. This is so fun. No, yeah, I've been busy going through some things that I'm looking forward to share with you because I think it will resonate, hopefully, with some individuals out there that have been in their career for a while and then just felt like they hit a wall. But there's light. You can get through these things, and that's what I'm happy to share here.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So just recently, has there been any highlights, anything that you feel free to share that you've been busy working on or like any new goals?
Yeah, so I'm working on a company called RepVera, and RepVera is a way for individuals to verify and capture what they're like to work with and share it with others throughout their career. I felt very passionate about this because when I quit my job about 8 or 9 months ago, I left all of the proof behind, Michael. I literally had emails from CEOs and VPs and clients and candidates that shared exactly their experience of working with me, and I left it. So I felt this passion to give that back to professionals, but also to give it to companies too in the hiring process so that when they do encounter a candidate, they actually have a verified record of how others experience working with them at the same time as their resume.
Awesome, because we do so many extraordinary things while we're working, building somebody else's dream that it's so easy to forget about ourselves. So
Uh-huh.
I'm super excited about RepVera. So if you haven't heard about it, make sure you spend some time. You can easily search online, on LinkedIn, wherever you like to take a look at it. And Stephanie's amazing. I'm super excited about what this is going to evolve into.
Thank you.
So, so Stephanie, I think a good place to start, there was always like three rhythms we kind of go into. One is the challenge, something that was difficult to accomplish. And then we look at the breakthrough moment, something that happened that made you realize I can't continue on this path or it's not going to turn out too well for me. And then lastly, the rhythm, some healthy rhythms that helped you along the way to continue to move forward. Because again, one thing we all have in common is we have battles inside that nobody knows about. So every now and then, if you have the right leadership or even friendships, that people will open up and share. And then you'll realize that I'm not the only one wrestling or going through something. So you can
Yeah.
start wherever you like, Stephanie.
This is such a good conversation because I feel like there's a lot of professionals out there that are just working on the dream of some companies, right? Like they're building and creating and putting everything into an organization that they don't own, but they identify with. And this is my journey. I've been like the face of companies everywhere I work because I'm so passionate and willing to give it my all, right? So let's talk about Brightside Health. It was my last role. You know me very well from there.
Yeah, sure does. I think the name was really sticky for me. It's like
Yeah,
Bright Side. And I think during that time, I was spending a lot of time trying to stay encouraged as I was navigating the journey. And it was always exciting to say, okay, my quarterly meeting is with Brightside. So let's see if I can leave the call with a little extra like encouragement.
total. Yeah. No, I love talent acquisition. I've been in it since graduating college. Side note, did I tell you that my background's in speech language pathology?
No,
Yes. I didn't even know what I was going to be when I graduated. And then I went to go get a speech language pathology assistant job. And in the interview, they're like, "You are a recruiter. You know that, right?" And I was like, "No." But they hired me as a recruiter, and I've never looked back. So, always been healthcare recruiting, Michael, and found my way into loving mental health care. A huge heart for therapists who are helping those who need it. And so I saw the opportunity at Brightside Health and jumped on it because I really did want to help people. Even though I couldn't be a therapist myself, I wanted to hire and help meet the demand, especially post COVID when so many individuals were seeking help and couldn't find it, right? So I joined as employee 19 and helped grow the entire network of therapists from 5 states and just a handful of therapists and psychiatrists, around 50 actually, to over 1,500 across all 50 states. And we launched a number of different divisions within Brightside Health, serving teens, substance use disorder, et cetera. And it really became a household name for telehealth care within mental health. And I grew it with a really streamlined team. I think you met a handful of them. And my secret weapon was I hired therapists to recruit therapists.
I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know. I just like, these are some great people. They're positive, outgoing. If I like let the ball drop, they're like, it's okay, Michael. Like, let's continue to move on. So that was the secret. One of the,
Well, I learned it because when I was hired to be a recruiter, I had that speech language pathology background and I recruited speech language pathologists. And it was so easy because I could speak their terminology. So, anyway, we had them as recruiters and we scaled the country, hiring up to 100 therapists a month across all 50 states. It was really challenging because you have every state with their own demand of patients, right? And so our recruiters had to juggle how many contract therapists, how many contract psychiatrists are we hiring in all 50 states to meet the projected demand that's coming from partnerships with insurance companies. So it was this huge web of AI data and recruiting and people that we had in the pipeline. It was a lot to handle at once. It was fun because it was challenging and there was a lot of things that we had to work through, and it was also super competitive because there were a ton of startups within mental health care that came out, and we were having to find ways to stand out as a company that is more attractive than, a competitor, and so that's where I fell in love with recruitment marketing and being able to attract the right talent for the right reasons, understanding the why of the company and really building the recruitment machine to be as streamlined as possible. And I feel like that's what we did pretty quickly. We had to if we wanted to, stay alive in the
Yeah, no, I'm sure that was could be pretty challenging and tough at times too. Not just leading a team, but also trying to stay aligned with what's important and healthy for the company. So, okay, so while you're like being awesome at Brightside and managing people and wow, was it any defining moment that happened that made you feel like, maybe I've outgrown this, maybe it's something else in the future for me? If there was an event, I'm just assuming maybe at one point in time something happened.
No, this is a really good question. I reflect on this often because we were doing so well at Brightside Health. The team, like I said, it was the best recruiting team I ever managed in my entire life. We were nominated for the Talent Strategy of the Year award in 2024. We were nominated again in 2025 for Transform, and we won Talent Strategy of the Year. And we were doing all of these great things and building a community of clinicians. And we started webinars for new grads. And I keep going back to, I was at the top, the peak of my career, making the most I've ever made, feeling so accomplished. But yet there was this feeling within inside me that it wasn't stress. I wasn't overwhelmed. It was just flat. And I couldn't get over this because here I am accomplishing all these things, but I feel burnout and boredom. I don't know why. I questioned it all the time because what I was building was important. My team was efficient. Maybe I started to be in too many conversations on alignment versus I wanted more meaningful conversations, or the stakes didn't feel as personal anymore. I still cared. I just didn't feel as engaged. I kept fighting this feeling, Michael. I don't know why, but for sure it was burnout and boredom that I could not overcome.
Wow. Did I always try to think about when you're thinking internally, like what's going on? Like, I mean, it's a lot of good cliches and a lot of things we hear um, from podcasts and different things. But if you can explain it, was it kind of like, did you feel like you reached a mountaintop and then it was like, is there another mountain to climb? Or was it kind of like sometimes for me, am I just doing this just to make a living without realizing the purpose in it? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, this is so good. I literally felt like I had accomplished maybe everything I had set out to accomplish within this certain role. I had mentored my team to do everything that I needed them to do. And so I was just going through the rhythm of, day to day meetings, just checking the box. Okay, I did that one on one. We have everything in order. It just felt flat. And I couldn't I couldn't put a feeling on it. I was just frustrated that I wasn't feeling the passion that I used to feel because I want to go into every role and feel really excited about what I'm accomplishing. And I just lost that suddenly. And I don't know what it was, but I had a feeling. I was at my desk one day, just like in between meetings, and there was this jolt. It was like a feeling of clearness and just sudden an expectation that I needed to step away. It was a God thing.
Wow. No, I totally believe that. Did you see any symptoms of that like play out in any other areas of your life?
No, I was feeling detached from my family because I was detached from work. And I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand. And I didn't want to not give them everything, especially if I wasn't giving my company everything. And so it was a sudden unhappiness of like, okay, if I keep feeling this, something's got to change. I can't keep showing up half the person I should be. Or, I'm sorry, half the person I am. And I need to do something different. And I think that was like, the Holy Spirit saying, Stephanie, I've been trying to tell you, like, you need to, it's time to switch gears, step away, and I'll figure it out for you.
Yeah. See, you did a great job listening and having those feelings. I don't know what happened to me, but I'm very like desensitized to that sometimes to where I feel like God has to close a door in order to get me to move. But if I think back, I can clearly remember opportunities and things that I could have done to pivot or change. But when I look back at my history of trying to listen within and hear what God is saying, He always had to close the door. So I don't know if that's a lack of faith thing or a lack of vision thing. Like, what what, what would you tell somebody like me that was experiencing that?
Well, you try to talk yourself out of it. You do. And that's what I was doing. It's like, why the heck am I feeling this way? I literally have it, like, I call it the top of my career. So you fight it. You fight it to the point where it's a yell. It's like an obvious, I've been trying to get this through you subtly, but now it's literally you listen or, you're just going to be miserable. So it's hard when someone's not a believer though, Michael, because you don't know where those are coming from, right? So for me, I do my devotional every morning and I try to just like make sure I'm aligned with what I need to accomplish for that day and give it to God. That's basically what's come from that is just a true peace. Even though I stepped away with like the worst job market ever, I had no plan. And I think that was it too, is I was talking to a lot of talent leaders and I was like, I don't know, I don't think this is for me anymore. So I was trying to take the steps, but I was still holding myself back. And they all advised against it. They're like, Steph, if you leave, it's gonna be so hard to get a job again. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to be in talent. Maybe this is my sign to like step away from it entirely.
Wow, wow. I'm trying to learn from you today. So I'm trying to sit here and think, did you reach one point to where that dissatisfaction, or what would you call it?
It was called boredom, but there's this thing, Michael, there's this thing, I was looking it up, it's like, how can I feel burnout, but boredom at the same time? I'm not overworked, but I had reached this peak, but I'm bored. It's called bore out.
Wow.
It's a word, like, therapists know about this.
Bore out. Why?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for putting the word together because I was trying to figure out, like, when you're in that space, I was going to say, which was the hardest one? Like, did boredom feel more impactful at that time? Or like, which one was the one that was like, okay, this is a heavy contender?
Yeah. Because I'm such a creative person, being bored was terrible for me. I'm someone that likes to have multiple projects going, multiple goals I'm achieving, many tabs open so that when one thing's processing, I can go work on another thing or lots of things like that. And it's not that I didn't have those things to go tackle anymore at Whiteside. I just don't feel like they were I had done most of the creative work and it was just reinventing myself over and over doing the same things. And I wanted new things. So being bored to me didn't feel good. I needed a new challenge, but I didn't know what that was gonna be, but I had to step away and just, like, take a moment with myself, with my family to figure it all out.
Wow. So now looking at the side of burnout, now, what was that like? Like, was it any other symptoms that played out because you were burned out? I mean, outside of, going to work and like, I got to do this again, like same day, nothing new. Was it anything else?
Well, just I'm gonna speak to, wanting to cancel meetings because it's just another stand-up meeting talking about the same things. I found myself just, like, not showing up to meetings because same old thing, you know what I mean? But afterwards, you hear yourself complaining all the time. And that doesn't feel good. I don't wanna go home or I am home, but I don't wanna, like, just start talking to people about why I'm frustrated every day. No one wants to hear that. And so it was just like, the frustration and burnout at work and then the conversation about it afterwards that just perpetuated the whole feeling of like, "Okay, what's happening here?"
So it gets even more layered because I know you have a family. So, I know I used to always feel like, okay, I can cut work off at 5 o'clock. Like I'm done. Like physically, maybe, but mentally, sometimes things carry over. So I think I'm hiding it, but my wife calls me out like a lot of times, like, what's wrong? Like, you're quiet today. And I'm thinking I'm hiding it. But have you had those moments where you're like, man, I didn't know that other people were seeing some of these red flags, I thought I was able to hide those and just keep it inside. Did you
Mhm.
have anything you can think of that maybe, like, if someone was listening that can navigate if they're in a place like that?
Yeah, are you losing sleep over it? I would wake up at 2 a.m. thinking about an offer letter that I forgot to resend with an updated, PTO package. I just things like that. There's going to be things that keep you up because you're just in it day in and day out and you can't detach from every little detail. That was hard because when you lose sleep, you don't function at the ability you should, and that was hard on me and my family for a long time. I would have insomnia because I'm thinking about all the little details. Man, the more people you manage at work, their happiness is like you're thinking about that constantly because you want them to be in a good place too.
Right. That's true. I remember I used to say, these days, extraordinary leaders need like a minor in psychology because your team, not only you, but you have a team to keep motivated. You have to have the right perspective, you know. And a lot of times you make sacrifices of things that you were going to originally do just to help them. And of course, there's some fulfillment in that. But especially now, like it's just a lot happening. I remember if you ever told anyone about therapy or like a therapist, they would look at you like something's wrong. Like, I don't think you need that, Mike. Like, but now it's common. Like people, they like, hey, I see my therapist every week, and you know, it's very what can I say, popular right now to have one.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's super healthy to have one. And that's why too, like I for sure had postpartum, Michael, and I didn't even know what it was. And so I think that's what drove me to getting into mental health care. Like, why was I feeling sadness when I should feel happiness? It's like, you have a brand new baby. So all of those things you start to reflect on, why you were a certain way and how therapists could support you in that. Just, any struggle, any feeling, like if you don't feel like you can talk to someone close to you about it, reaching out and having, a stranger who becomes a partner in feelings who can get you through the hard ones.
Yeah, no, that's super important. I remember like having some struggles mentally, and it's I thank God don't show all the things that's wrong with you at once. It's kind of like a little bit here, a little bit there, and I would just hold it in. Like this is tough and it's supposed to be tough, and just hold it in. But when you think about the people around you, like your role and what you should do, but at the same time, you have to keep yourself a priority because you won't be able to give or be the best that you can be to the people that you love or prioritize. So,
Mhm.
like, it's a lot of different things that you think about while you're navigating it. So, you mentioned a lot of things. We've covered a lot of ground, but I'm also thinking about, do you remember any like tough moments along that path of you leaving your job, starting this extraordinary company? Is there anything else that you're open to share about that path and what it looked like?
Well, I think that is this like the new rhythm of what you're talking about and how I operate now? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the new rhythm.
Perfect. So here's what's crazy is when I did quit my job, I felt like I had lost my identity for sure. Like I thought it would just be this completely peaceful moment and it became that, trust me. But when individuals tie themselves to their title and then that's stripped away, you kind of feel naked and vulnerable. Like, who am I? What am I supposed to do now? Especially after nearly 20 years in talent acquisition. And I decided to step away. It was kind of tough for a second. And I realized that happens so quickly for individuals laid off.
Yes.
Just like, how did I didn't know until you feel it, right? And sometimes there's so many moments that you have to go through some crappy things to really relate to others. So worked through that quite a bit. And then you know what I did for myself? I love AI. I literally was using it nonstop, Michael, at Brightside, and I felt the need to dive in deeper. So my new rhythm was actually to not do talent. for a while, but to educate myself in AI. So I call it my AI sabbatical. So the first 3 to 4 months of me not working, I was learning AI inside and out. The kids were at school. I drop them off, slow mornings, coffee, no Slack, no LinkedIn. It was beautiful. And then I would go and I'd start learning. And I became focused again. I became just like a laser beam learner where I was so engaged. It was the complete opposite of when I left Brightside, where I was just like I couldn't focus. I was bored and all over the place. And now the new rhythm is like I can't unfocus myself. I'm so into it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. You found something that was intriguing, and it helped you kind of get some of the same feeling. I don't want to say vibes, but feelings that you had before when you're moving towards something purposeful.
That's exactly right.
That no, so that's really good. That sounds great. I
Yeah.
love how you were able to. How long did it take you before you realized that you needed to create that rhythm? Like, I mean, did it? Was it? I'm just asking, like, because I know what it's like too to be laid off. And, of course, yeah, something's better. Something you keep, speaking to yourself, it's there. But then as time continues to like transpire a bit, then you're like, okay, do I really know what's going to happen next? It's super uncomfortable and inconvenient.
Mhm.
Like, how did you feel, or how long did it take you to kind of feel like, okay, I'm back?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think it took me a good couple months. And I think that's common. I mean, again, I wasn't out searching for a new role. I was just trying to refine balance and purpose in my own life and learning. And that's what AI was giving me, and I was vibe coding, and I would wake up, excited to get back into a project and, build a website or build an app and just learn all of the nuances around it. Now, I launched some websites. I haven't launched apps, but I know how to now. And I wanted to start making money again, Michael. And so I decided I'd start consulting. And that's when it hit me. I had lost all of my proof, all of the emails, all of the things people said about me, and I, like, just went off again. It was like a jolt, from God, like, "You need to build this. People need this, especially if, a layoff happens and they lose all the record, the proof of what they're like to work with." And I had these tools now where I could start vibe coding and creating, and I got to work. And it started to turn into something so much bigger to me because when you are interviewing candidates, you really do want to discover, hey, what is this person truly like to work with? Like, how do they show up? Are they humorous? Are they energetic? Are they cool, calm, and collected? And the fact is, the more like receipts or words from people you work with that share that experience, the patterns don't lie, Michael. And so this is why I'm so excited to bring it to the world to give hiring teams more perspective that the actual professional owns and gets verified themselves. And they carry it with them. It's their own reputation record verified by those who have worked alongside them. And I feel such a privilege to have stepped away from the height of my career with no direction to find direction just out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Takes a lot of, what do they say, intestinal fortitude, just resilience. I have to ask you though, like, did you have any influential coaches to when you did feel like, I don't know if I want to do this, or maybe articles you read, or what, was it anything kept you motivated? Like, cause
Literally, AI is my motivator, and I hate that. Okay, I hate that. Literally, like, please, you can remove that if you think that's cheesy, but I it was just me, myself, and AI at the couch, at the table, and I would say, like, "Here's a concern I had when I was hiring. Show me facts around other people that have experienced this." Or, "Hey, here's something that I think's unfair in the hiring process. What if we develop this to show this?" Or, "Tell me about references. How are those hitting home?" So I would ping like Claude, Grok, Gemini. I would ask them all separately with different prompts, and they would all bring back the same facts. So I didn't have a mentor my whole life either. That's why I was so big on mentoring my team. And now that I have like AI to give me the motivation and I tell it how I need to be treated. I feel like it's my own little, coach or motivator.
Yeah, yeah, I had to ask that, because I know it could be different for everyone else. So, a lot of times when you first realize the challenge in front of you that you need to accomplish, like you said earlier, it's so easy to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Like this, somebody's doing that already. This is not. I remember when I had the idea to start the podcast, and I've shared this story before. I was talking myself out of it. I was like, I'm not as good as Steve Bartlett, right now. It's just not working out. And then I didn't have the equipment. So I started trying to figure out a way to like talk myself out of these things. And my wife had a brilliant idea. She was like, just record, just start recording. I'm going to record you and I'm going to ask you, why do you want to do another podcast? Everyone's doing those. And she said, when you post about it, just say it's a pilot and also say you're not sure where this is going. So that took a lot of the load and the me talking myself out of it away, kind of erased it away. So that's why I was asking, like, what did you have anything? But AI is AI. I know what you mean exactly. But if it worked for you,
Okay, okay.
it's good
No,
enough.
to continue off of that, did I was trying to talk myself out of it because I think every human has this fear of being judged. Like you're like, I don't want this feeling, but you have it because you are human, right? And so I push through that. I think the older I get, the less I care because this is for me. This is for me to build, not anyone else. Like I'm not going to judge anyone else trying to build a thing. And you just get this sense of it's like grit and carefree peace when you just are like listening to those that need the support. You want to help them. You're building something for other people. It's not a selfish type of thing. And you just go for it. You push through to see where it takes you. And if not, the worst that happens is you learned a ton of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to ask you because you took a lot of AI classes. Were there any favorite prompts you used that you thought was amazing that you don't mind sharing?
Well, I really love anything research based. So when I'm asking Claude a question, I say, pull up the research on reference checks or soft skill hiring to create your response so that nothing is given to me just surface level. I need to know it's backed by research so that I'm not driving efforts on surface level information. So, and sometimes I always say too, like, hey, you are Steve Jobs today. Review this website in his lens. So you just have to like really tell it exactly what you need for the result you're aiming for.
I love that. That's good. So I want us to kind of move on. We've covered a lot of ground. Stephanie, if there's anybody out there, I'm trying to think of the scenario. They felt like they've reached their plateau. Like you were saying earlier, you like met your goals, you did what you wanted to do, but now they're on top of that mountain and they don't know what else to do next. They know they don't want to go back and do what they used to because it can bring burnout and boredom, but they also want to say, man, how do I get inspired now? I've accomplished that. What's next? Is it any closing thoughts that you could share that would be helpful?
Yeah, and I know I'm in a unique situation where I was able to step away because my husband, could still support the family, but I think sometimes it takes a dramatic shift, a change in process or actual daily responsibilities to rewire your brain in a creative way to reignite passion that you initially had. And because any role I did start out with, I was passionate. I'm ready to go. Let's hire. Let's bring anyone on. All the enthusiasm out there. But when that fades, it's real hard to bring back. And you have to rewire your brain, do something different, whether it's on the side or a complete shift in roles and responsibility to honestly reignite yourself. That's what I found. And it's not easy because it's scary, but the result is worth it.
Got it. So were there any, you mentioned earlier about prayer. Is it anything maybe one common prayer you went to, one of your go-tos that you don't mind sharing as well for those. It's like, what can I do next? How can I make this next step?
It's just I pray for peace, like in my heart, in my soul, in my energy, because when I have anxiety and stress, I'm not making good decisions. So when I like ask for the Holy Spirit to come in me and bring me peace in my decisions, that's when like I feel like I'm making the right moves.
Oh yeah, I love that. Hopefully you
Yeah.
all heard that. Yeah, absolutely. So Stephanie, any other closing thoughts that you would like to share? Again, it's just, man, everything you said is so rich and it's great to hear your perspective on it. Totally impressed by the journey that you're on right.
Thank you. I really want to say to people in their career and they feel stuck, they feel at a plateau, you're not alone. Like I was at the top of my career too, and I felt that way. So even if you're just, 30 years old and feeling stuck, that might be your sign to just like go out and try different things on the side and build something that you're passionate about. And I always have to say too, because I do own Rep Farah, is start capturing your reputation because you're in a world where a bot can take your spot. And if you can't prove the human side of the work you do, it's going to be challenging times in the future. So that's definitely a behavior I want to start encouraging professionals to do, just like businesses do.
Awesome, awesome. I told you that was my last question. It's one other one that I've been asking this a lot. Like, what would you tell someone that has a problem or they wrap their identity up and that had their identity wrapped up in their job? And then, like, what would you tell them? And then, not only that, how do they keep that raveling away so it doesn't happen? Because that seemed to be a easy thing to fall into.
It's very easy. I did it to myself in every single role I was in. I think it's almost like a check in and check out process, right? You're checking in to do the things you need to do to make a living, and you'll give your best to it, but you need to check out at the end of the day and give it all to your family and your loved ones because that right there is the identity killer, right? Like if you are that title carried over to dinner, to bedtime, to morning again, it's not good for work-life balance, for mental health care. You gotta check in and check out, and I didn't do that well myself, so I understand it's not easy, but it's something to try to work on.
Mhm. I know personally for me, I remember it was always tough to save energy for the things that are most important to you.
Yes.
So you're giving it all you got. You're doing the best at work, and 5 o'clock is done, and then you're like, okay, I think I have a quarter of a tank left. Like, what can I do with this? Do you believe that there is a real work life balance?
Yeah, there is. There is work-life balance out there. You have the boundaries are so important to set for that, right? And having a company that aligns with it too. And Brightside was that. They actually wanted work-life balance, but it was on me to set my own boundaries around it, and I failed to do that, unfortunately. So, it's possible. It really is, but it's actually effort to do. It doesn't happen naturally. You have to, like, design it and stick to it so that you don't burn out and unravel and tie your identity to your title.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Stephanie has been phenomenal. Thanks like for your time and people listening. She's amazing because she took time to share a part of her story. And I know everyone, they're not open to doing that. Because I tell you, I do send invites out to invite some people, and sometimes they're thinking, well, I'm not perfect. Like I'm still going through some things. And I'm like, that's the best time to kind of check in and see how you're feeling. Instead of, watching the highlight reels and hearing about all the successes, it's so great just to, okay, right now at this present time, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be successful, but I have a heart to want to win. What does that look like? Are there some common things that I can expect along my path? And then, like you said earlier, you're not alone. It's so many people that's in this space right now. So, but Stephanie, again, thank you. Appreciate time with you today. Don't forget about Rep Vera. I had a chance to start an account as well just to get ready because I lost everything. Everything. I remember I was trying to hurry up and copy things from like Microsoft. Any notes that I had, I totally like didn't have time to do that. So make sure you look up Rep Vera.
Always a pleasure to meet with you, Michael, anytime.
Thanks, Stephanie. Have a great day and I'll keep in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, before I get started, I want to share something that really matters to me. The stories and ideas you'll hear on Building the Inner You can be relatable and encouraging, but they're only a starting point. Mental and emotional health are serious, and while inspiration can spark change, it's often not enough on its own. If something here hits close to home, I encourage you to take the next step with a licensed mental health therapist or reaching out to a healthy church community where you feel safe, supported, and known. Growth and healing are not meant to be done alone.